wanted to get a live stream to everybody because, for those who don't know, tomorrow is Good Friday for the Orthodox religion, so we
Mm.
won't be doing a live stream tomorrow. And we
No.
just finished recording a bunch of videos, which will
Mm.
be going up over the weekend, tomorrow, Saturday, and
Mm.
Sunday as well. We also recorded a Q&A to
Mm.
the live stream we had with Robert Barnes. So we answered all of the questions that were given to us during that live stream as well. But we wanted to just do like a 30-minute live stream to just touch base with everybody before we head
Yeah.
into Pascha, before we head into Easter holiday.
Yeah.
So this is just kind of relaxed setting to just say hello to everybody and to continue to keep awareness for Gonzalo. So we put the hashtag.
Absolutely.
And people ask me if I have anything to report. I don't.
No.
Um, I email him all the time, and I just wait for some sort of answer, but
Yeah.
I haven't received an answer.
No.
So, Alexander, your thoughts? How are things going? Any news as well that you want to report with regards to what's going on as
Well,
well?
I
And
mean,
we'll do a very short
yeah.
live today.
I mean, the big news is about Mariupol, where Putin made a decision today that they're not going to try and storm the Azovstal factory. Now, I know a lot of military people said that would be the decision, and that there's no point, there's no purpose in sending your soldiers into tunnels and catacombs, as Putin mentioned it, when you've got these people trapped there. I'm going to make a guess. I've been looking at these videos that they've been pouring out of Azovstal from these people who've been bottled up there, and I think they're pretty close to giving up. Actually, now I'm not definitely saying they will, and maybe this will give them a little bit more of encouragement. But especially if the shells keep falling, if the bombs still drop, I think that before very long, you're going to see these people looking for some way out of the trap that they're now in. And Putin said, you don't let a fly get in there. I'm sure the Russians can pretty much do that. But what they can now do is redeploy the assault forces and use them to do the other things that they need them for in the other battles in the Donbass. They can keep second line troops and artillery and aircraft to isolate Azovstal, but sending your best troops into the factory, fighting in tunnels and and bunkers and things, is just to lose a lot of your best troops to no useful purpose. So I'm sure this has been discussed within the Russian military for some time, and I think this is an understandable decision. Now, for the rest, I'm going to just share what Alex said about Gonzalo. We're very concerned about him. We don't know. We don't have any information that is beyond what.
Yeah, they're
Felix.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. I was
Felix.
looking at that too. I don't know.
Yeah,
I haven't heard from
yeah. Well,
Felix. Yeah, go
Felix is
ahead,
a
Alex.
friend of
You've done a show. I
Felix.
mean, we've both done a show
Absolutely,
with him. Yeah.
absolutely. And Felix and Gonzalo know each other well, I believe, or at least they know each other reasonably well. So I mean, perhaps Felix's information, but I'm going to say this: we don't have access to private information. I mean, we just don't. And as I've said many times, I don't like to speculate about something I don't know about, when especially it's a matter like this, and until I have some actually real information to work with.
What else do you want to talk about, Alexander? There's a question in here. One sec. Thank you for becoming a member,
Yeah, yeah,
Adrian,
yeah.
and about having Patrick Lancaster on. Yeah, we would love to.
Well, we would
The
love
hard
to.
part about having Patrick, or I mean, there's a lot of Patrick Lancaster.
Yeah,
There's Eva, there's Graham Phillips. There's a lot of
yeah,
people who are on the ground that it would
yeah,
be great to have them on, but they're on the ground, and it's hard
yeah,
to do
yeah.
these
Absolutely,
types of sit
absolutely.
down
Yes.
shows with
Yes,
them.
I mean, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, bear in mind that these are not just busy people, but exceptionally busy people. I mean, and besides, I mean, he's the sort of person who is probably more comfortable on the front lines, reporting
Mm.
wise, than he is doing other things. At least that's what he wants to be doing. So we'd love to have him, but it may not be very easy to get hold of him. That's what I wanted to say. On the subject of Easter that you mentioned, the Russians have flat out rejected this proposal that came from the UN Secretary General, for an Easter truce. And they did it in the most extraordinary, fierce terms. They said, this is just a ploy to give the Ukrainians time to reorganize and re-equip, and we're not going to do that. The offensive continues. Now, can I just say that, in effect, is once more the Russians saying that the UN Secretary General, Guterres, who came up with this proposal, is working for the Western powers. I don't think any of us doubted it. He's, I believe, Portuguese. He was from a NATO country. I think the Russians will be much more skeptical in future of supporting NATO, people from NATO backgrounds for top UN posts. So, and I suspect the Chinese too.
Yeah. I'm looking at Felix Rex's Twitter. One sec. Justin O'Donnell says, look, I'm going to put that up on the screen, Alexander, because I'm just kind of parsing through it. Something strange might be going on. Justin O'Donnell says, do you guys think Russia would preemptively strike Finland's military units before Finland joins NATO, thus preempting Article 5?
No, I don't think so. I don't think that the Russians have any such plans. I don't think they're afraid of Finland joining NATO, actually. I think that they see this for what it is, a shabby consolation prize that NATO is giving itself now that it's lost Ukraine. And as I've discussed in other videos, I think that the Russians, from their point of view, I'm not suggesting that they want Finland or Sweden to join NATO, but I think that they feel that it will actually simplify their military planning in the Arctic and in the North Atlantic. It means that they won't have to deploy forces around Finland and Sweden to respect their neutrality. Bear in mind that Finland and Sweden can add very little to NATO's overall military power.
Okay.
I'm sorry for Finland, especially, by the way. I've been to the country. I know it well. I'm sure a lot of people in Finland are very upset about this.
Kalio25 says, let the Azov guys literally eat the NATO officials alive in Azovstal. And there's some smiley emojis there. Thank you, Kalio, for that super chat. Dan,
running out of water. They're running out of water. Running out of water as well, as from what I've heard, and they only have spotty internet contact.
Yeah, Dan Vartsokas is a new member to the Duran community. Welcome, Dan. I'm on. Jorge Hernandez. Yeah, is this real Gonzalo Lira 01 at Lira 01 real? I'm glad that you sent that, Jorge, because that's exactly what I'm looking at, and it looks like I'm on. Let me actually just put it on the screen for everybody. Just give me one quick second, Alexander, and I'm going to share it because I'm trying to make heads and tails out of it as well. But it has to do with that fake account that was floating around earlier this morning.
Yeah.
Can you guys see the screen, everybody?
Yeah, I can see it. I can just about see it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's that fake account, but it's coming from, I believe that is Felix Rex Twitter as well.
Yeah.
And it's that fake account. I believe it's a fake account.
I believe it's a fake account. I think so too.
That's my guess. I don't know what the chat thinks as well, but there were some people that commented on that earlier today.
Yeah.
And it seemed like it was a fake account.
I can't help but think that before Gonzalo started to put out tweets and things like that, he would be sending things in private emails.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. He would have sent something. He was always good about responding to emails. Sparky says, maybe sour grapes, even if Azovstal surrendered now, French elections would somehow be fixed for Macron.
Oh, absolutely. But I agree with that. But can I just say, I've become,
Mhm.
I'm not sure who or what is in Azovstal, but I'm beginning to have doubts about some of the claims about, large numbers of French Foreign Legion troops and people like that there. It just doesn't feel as if we, now that we got very close to the place, that it really is people like that there. I mean, there's a lot of Western volunteers, but I suspect that Robert Barnes got it right over the live stream that we did the other day, that what it basically shows, all those evacuation attempts show, is the pull that the leaders of the Azov battalion have in Kiev, that they were trying to evacuate the leaders and leave the men behind, and that was what it was all about. And that was what the Russians always said, in fairness, it was all about.
Yeah, and I'm looking at Rumble as well, and they're saying in the chat there, they're saying Coach would reach out for sure. Know that, yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
there's no doubt
yeah,
about that. I agree
yeah,
with the chat in
yeah,
Rumble as well.
yeah.
Novus says, "Here's some bits for your wonderful walking around video updates." Thank you, Novus from
Thanks.
Odyssey.
Yeah,
Hello to our moderators as well, Alan
yeah.
Watson and Valies,
Mm,
and who else? I think I saw Reckless Abandon in there as well. Not sure if I saw
yeah.
Zariel.
Mm.
Um, Let me see. Yeah, I think those are our moderators.
Yes.
Eremias, thank you for that super stickers. Ralph says, hello, Ritter's, Scott Ritter's description of Gonzalo's murder, followed by clarification that he does not know, really is irresponsible. Thank you for your work. Yeah, Ralph, there was a lot of talk about that. I actually did a video on that, which I'm going to put
Yeah.
up. But I actually think Scott's first message. I mean, in the video, I say that the first message that Scott sent was actually really good. I just think that people misunderstood, like
Yeah.
some of the people that picked it up from
Yeah.
Telegram, and then they created memes out of it, like
Yeah,
memes. I don't know
exactly.
if
Yeah.
that's even the right word. Like they created photo
Yeah.
like images out of it, and it just got
Yeah.
kind of misinterpreted. And what Scott was doing, which I thought was actually quite clever and a good idea, is that he was pointing out the hypocrisy and the double
Exactly.
standards with regards to how the media and
Protasevich.
how the collective West has, yeah, how they looked at Gonzalo and then how they looked at Protasevich, which was
Protasevich.
just literally a year ago, pretty much.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly correct.
Because we forgot
That's
about
exactly.
Protasevich, but
No.
yeah,
Mhm.
he was pointing that out.
Yeah. I think it's exactly what
So
he was doing. Yeah, but that was the point he was trying to make. And maybe, and I get to say this, I think he's maybe what some of the things he said were not worded especially well, but I think that was his underlying point.
no, that was definitely
That was his
the
point. Yeah,
uh, the
the point he
underlying
was
point,
making.
yeah. And
Yeah.
and then he came with the clarification, but the first message was making that comparison.
Yes. Yes.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then it got spread throughout the
Yes.
internet,
Yes.
and
Yes.
and
Yes.
it was reworded and all kinds of things. But yeah,
Mm.
yeah, I agree. But the Protasevich is a good comparison, actually,
Yeah. Absolutely.
to a certain extent.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Not a
Um,
word about him, by the way, anywhere in the British media. No word
no,
about
that's the
the
point. Yeah.
legacy media. They
I mean, people
completely
forget with
black.
Protasevich, they actually
Mm,
closed all the EU airspace to Belarus
exactly.
for the
Yeah,
Protasevich incident.
exactly.
For those who don't remember,
Exactly.
he
Yeah.
was the 24-year-old citizen journalist slash activist
Yeah.
who took a very front role in the regime change effort against Lukashenko. And he was on that plane from Athens, Greece. I believe it was to Latvia or Lithuania. And that plane,
Yeah. Yeah.
depending on which side of the story you believe, that plane was landed in Minsk,
Mhm.
and Lukashenko got him.
Yeah.
And when that happened, all of the European Union, they closed off all of their airspace to Belarus. And even to
Mm.
this day, they haven't opened it up a year
No.
later.
No. No. And Lukashenko is still there and looks very secure. But nonetheless, massive, massive campaign around Protasevich. Nothing at all about Gonzalo. So there we go. There's been lots of attacks in the legacy media here in Britain about Graham Phillips, by the way, which just make me wonder whether they're playing up Graham Phillips in order to play down Gonzalo. But I'm not sure.
they're going
I'm
after
not.
Graham.
I don't want to guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Charlie says a great guest on the show could be the former U.S. Army Colonel Doug McGregor. He's been brilliant analyzing the military side of things on alternative media.
I know he would be, and I mean, he's obviously someone we would like to reach out to. I mean, if anybody, I mean, I don't know how to reach out to him, if I can say so. But if anybody does know, send us a link or whatever it is. Send us a message, and we will try.
Yeah,
Busy man.
Tim PZ says, if Zelensky keeps sacrificing his army by denying retreat, is there a chance the army will turn on him after suffering wasteful losses? P.S. Love your work.
Well, it's possible. In Ukraine, you can never know. But I'm very glad you made the point about, stand and fight orders, which throw men's lives away, because that's exactly what's happening. I used to read all these stories. I mean, I was never a military historian or anything like that, but how in the Second World War, the then leader of Germany was all the time giving stand and fight orders to his armies everywhere. And the Western historians used to criticize this. They would say this was irrational. Well, Zelensky does it, and he gets praised for it. But the results are still the same. Men die.
All right. JJHW actually put a link to Douglas McGregor's website so we can contact him. Thank you for that.
Thank you. That's very useful. Thank you.
Madigan Cross says Cernovich has been occasionally tweeting about Gonzalo as well. Thank you for that. And Real Lot No Sense says Ritter pushed the right buttons. Yeah, I agree with you. Real Lot No Sense.
I think so. Yeah.
There was a lot of awareness that was created as well from all of that.
Yes.
So that's true. Miss Pardal 123 says, may G protect Alexander, all journalists. Thank you for that, Miss Pardal. And Terry Hansen says, did you get a date from your encounter on this morning's video? No, no, I did not. Thank you for that, Terry Hansen. William, thank you for that super sticker. Sanjiva says, just want to say, stay safe, guys. God bless you. Thank you, Sanjiva, for that super chat. And Jam says, isn't it hypocritical that the West is panicking that China created a security treaty with the Solomon Islands, but says NATO expansion is fine?
Yeah, of course it is. It's a very good point, actually. It's absolutely right. I mean, you worry about the Solomon Islands doing a very, very mild security treaty with China. And, you say, well, Russia doesn't need to worry. If Ukraine joins NATO, even if we promised you once upon a time that we wouldn't extend it eastwards, well, it's no concern of yours.
Yeah.
What sauce for the goose, as we say in Britain, it seems is not sauce for the gander.
Hakanui says, aloha from Hawaii, praying for Gonzalo and the innocent lives lost in Ukraine. Patrick Lancaster's reports are heartbreaking. Mahalo for the update. Thank you very much.
They are very heartbreaking.
Some of them,
some of them are very distressing, actually. I mean, some of these witness accounts that he gives, some of these people you see, I mean, it's harrowing. I mean, German General Sherman said war is hell, but it looks as if this isn't just hell. It's something that's some people are doing things in this war which are just beyond horror, actually.
Avi Musafi says, hey guys, loving your analysis day in and day out. Could you please tell us a few book recommendations? Thanks in advance. Yeah, we're waiting for Alexander's book list on Locals. You haven't put it up yet, Alexander.
No, I haven't put it up yet. No, it's God help us. Too many things to do, but no, surely one day, yes.
All right. Let's see. Red Duck says, do you think the deep state will take out Zelensky eventually? He seems to be becoming a liability. That is true. He is losing it, I think.
I think he's losing it. I've also noticed the same thing. Whether they'll take him out, difficult to. I mean, they built him up. I mean, they're stuck with him, I'd have thought, actually, at least at the moment.
Real Lot No Sense says, I read here on the Duran about Cameroon perfecting a defense agreement with Russia. Things are moving all over the world.
Oh, absolutely. This is so true. Every part of the world is readjusting. And you see the pieces being moved across the board everywhere. And the events, the crisis that we've seen, which is in Ukraine, but not about, don't only about Ukraine. That is the event that's rearranging the whole kaleidoscope. There's been a debacle of a G20 meeting, by the way, in Washington, of G20 finance ministers, because the Western powers wanted to exclude Russia. The organizer, which was Indonesia, refused. Most of the other G20 members refused. And the meeting, as a result, collapsed into chaos. And the Western finance ministers have issued an extraordinary statement, which in a sense, essentially is an attack on the other finance ministers of the G20. So the G20 summit, the G20 meeting it looks like that whole structure is about to break down. And, we get all sorts of other things happening, like the Saudis not answering Biden's calls, which they're still refusing to do. And MBS speaking just the other day to Putin, an incredibly warm and friendly call. Quite interesting.
Martin Smith, welcome to the Duran community. Martin, good to have you here. Cynical Skeptic says, who did better in the Macron v. Le Pen debate, and what do the French think of it?
Well, I'm not French, and I can only give my own impression, but this is my own impression. I thought Le Pen did. I'll tell you why. There's two reasons. Firstly, I think that she went in with lower expectations. I think Macron was widely considered to be the better debater. He's more polished. He knows how to do this. But I thought that, as a debater, I think she essentially held her own. She didn't get rattled. She didn't become angry. If anybody became angry and condescending, it was Macron. And I also thought that she was closer, much closer, to the concerns of most people in France. I still think Macron's going to win. The reason is not because of the debate, but because of the structural problems that a candidate like Le Pen faces in winning an election in France. But I thought on balance, she did better than Macron.
Tim Gibson says General Sherman was a terrorist. Sorry.
I'm not saying. I mean, and somebody who I suspect felt incredible remorse for some of the things he did, and that presumably explains part of his comments. I also gather, Grant. I was Sherman himself. He said that he was part mad or something like this. So, I mean, anyway. It's a powerful quote that he gave, and I think whatever you think of Sherman himself and what he did, war is indeed hell.
Yeah. Mario Bastinetti says, I have recently joined Telegram and I can see that Gonzalo was seen 1 hour ago. Does that mean anything?
No.
I don't think it means anything. I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah. Seen by whom?
Well, Jay Rillo says, I just contacted the American embassy in Poland. They sound really annoyed that people are calling about an American citizen. Apply pressure, everyone.
Is he in fact an American citizen? I mean, I'm certain about this, but whatever. I don't think the US is doing very much for him at the moment. Anyway, carry on.
No, but yeah, I imagine Chile's trying to do as much as they can.
I think Chile will take it very seriously, actually. Yeah. I think Chile will take it seriously, and they're probably, they've got lots of influence in many countries. It's a country that does have friends.
Yeah, and what they'll do is they'll definitely come in contact with the Russian Ministry of Foreign Ministry as well. So
yeah, absolutely.
That's something to keep in mind.
Yeah.
And Russia, I believe the Foreign Ministry will take it seriously as well.
Oh, very seriously.
Balkejan said India refused airspace to a Japanese plane with weapons for Ukraine, probably a play by the US to see how compliant both countries are.
Absolutely. That's exactly what it was. The Americans are losing the game with India. They're not very, very careful, just as the G20 didn't go as planned, with Indonesia holding the line, and all the other G20 states, apart from the Western ones, holding the line too. They will lose India, and India might even quit the Quad at the rate things are going, and that would be a massive blow.
Jennifer,
to win Finland and lose India is not a good bargain. Let me put it like that.
Jennifer, thank you for that super sticker. Valley S, thank you for that super chat. Steve Foster, thank you for that super chat. David S, thank you for that super sticker. And Wendy says, Alex and Alexander, are you concerned for your own safety?
No, I'm not. I'm in London. I'm not going to let my thoughts go that way. Why, this is up to now always been a law-abiding country. You can't live in that kind of fear, and I've no reason to think I'm under any danger. So I put that. I don't have any such feelings.
Yeah. No, I mean, Gonzalo was. I mean, people forget that.
Yeah.
Forget it didn't seem
No.
from the live stream because you don't. You don't get the full picture. It didn't seem like he was in a
No.
war zone at times, but he
Yeah.
was in a war zone.
He was in a
I
war
mean,
zone.
that was the
Exactly.
reality of it. Yeah.
Yes.
Um, we're reporting from what is for the moment pretty peaceful places. Uh, let's see. Luke G says, "Love you guys. Thank you. Love
Yeah.
Gonzalo. Thank you,
Yeah.
Luke G, for that." Creation Freedom says, "Are both of you in good health?"
Yes, actually, I'm in very good health. I mean, I can say that confidently because, as it happens, I had a medical check done recently. So, apart from the fact that I'm tired most of the time, I'm in very, very good health.
I think I'm in good health. I walk around a lot.
Yeah, makes it absolutely.
RDDR says, "Is multipolarity going to be a good thing?"
Well, that is a very good question. It can't be worse than unipolarity. Let's say that. I mean, that's all I can say about it.
Yeah.
And I don't think we're going to go into multipolarity anyway. I think we're going to be in a bipolar system. There's going to be two big blocks. IMF thinks so as well.
Tangle Up in Blah says, "Ever grateful for your daily dose of humanity and sanity." Thank you very much for that. And Avi Musafi says, "What are your thoughts on the Georgian government's stance regarding the war so far? What do you think Georgia should be doing during this geopolitical crisis?"
I think they've handled it again with some skill, actually, that they've kept out of it. And I am sure that's been a major disappointment for the US, and the Ukrainians are furious about it. So, it might eventually, who knows, it might conceivably even pave the way for some kind of Russian-Georgian rapprochement, which would be in Georgia's interests.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the chat. Yeah, you did hear every now and then. You would hear explosions from Gonzalo's
Yeah,
stream every
absolutely.
now and then. Yeah,
And sirens blaring and those sort of
yeah,
things.
that is true.
Yeah,
Every now, but it was very faint. I mean, like when we would do our live streams, or when I would
yeah,
listen to his streams,
yeah.
many times he would have to just like he would stop and he would point it out and he would say, "Can you hear the uh, the explosions?" And then, as you
Yeah.
heard, you were like, "Oh, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, I do kind of hear
Yeah.
it." Yeah.
Yes.
Um, let's see here. Eng Seng Lao says, "Any thoughts on the U.S. proposed Curb KIPS Act?"
Oh, I'm sorry.
CIPS. I think that's the Swift. That's the Swift
Oh,
competitor. Yeah,
yeah,
I
yeah.
think. Yeah,
But we'll
SIPS
we'll
or
see.
KIPS. Yeah,
Sip kips, yeah. Well, I mean, we're going to get more and more of those coming anyway. But to be perfectly honest, and this is my own personal belief, Alex is much more wise about these things than me. I think the days of interbank messaging services like Swift are numbered because we already have cryptocurrencies. And before very long, we're going to have digital currencies, which come with a host of their own problems. But I don't think they're going to need Swift anymore.
yeah, I agree with you there. Sparky says, "I stood behind Grant when he was drunk, and he stood behind me when I was crazy." That's a quote from General William T. Sherman.
Well, there you
From
go. Well,
Sparky.
there you go. Yeah.
Thank you, Sparky, for that. Too Small says, "Ukraine losses. How about Europe? Second biggest losses. Europe is going to lose
Well,
big
indeed.
in all of this."
Europe is going to lose very big. I don't want to underestimate what's going to happen in Ukraine. Ukraine's going through a terrible time. It's going to be utterly devastated. But who knows? If things work out well, if there's a sort of good peace in Ukraine, the country might pull itself up. It's in a very bad way, and it was in a very bad way before the war. Europe is now going downhill, and there is no bottom. That's my own fear.
Hmm. Can Tigar says, "Still be careful, Alex and Alexander. Take care of yourself." Thank you,
Yeah.
Tigar. JHW says, "How are the twins, Alexander?"
Flourishing.
And
They're doing incredibly well. Well, the not oldest one, the one that was born first, has now started to get teeth. So that's quite a dramatic development, but still.
You Watcher says Israel is adding Chinese yuan to foreign reserves.
Yeah, it's a big news. Very big news.
Talk about shooting yourself in the foot twice. My God, that's the collective West with these sanctions.
Mm.
And Danish1200 says, can you talk more about the G20 meeting debacle? We actually
Yes,
did a
I mean,
video on it,
I
but
think we did a
yeah,
video on it, yeah.
it'll be
But
up this
briefly,
weekend. Yeah.
briefly, there was a meeting of finance ministers. It physically took place in Washington. Siluanov, the Russian finance minister, said that he'd attend virtually. Russia is, of course, a G20 state. The Western powers have been trying to exclude Russia from the G20. Indonesia, which was the chair, said no. Bear in mind that this is a loose collection, so it's the chair who decides whom to invite. And they said, Indonesia had the support of all the other big non-Western aligned countries, including Saudi Arabia, countries like China, obviously India. And so Siluanov did attend. The Western powers refused to have any contacts with him. And then they held their own separate meeting as the G7. And then they issued a statement as the G7. So in effect, they undermined the G20 whilst at the same time showing that they're in a minority.
Okay, unmute. RDDR says, what happened to liberals in the 2010s?
What did? My own personal view about liberals is that the word has ceased to have its original meaning, sometime around 1960. Actually, what has evolved since then is something that is diametrically opposite to what a pre-1960s liberal in Europe would have recognized as liberalism.
All right. Okay, Alexander, let's do like just 10 more minutes, 15 more minutes, like 10, 15 more
10.
minutes. And
Yeah,
we'll just
absolutely,
get through
yes.
these questions and comments,
Yes.
and we'll wrap it
Yes.
up. And
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
we'll get some more videos up today as well. A lot more content
Yes, we
is going
will.
to go up today.
Yes. Yes.
Ryan says, morning Jets, what do you see happening with Spain, Greece, Italy, even if Macron wins, but it's a slim margin? If Le Pen wins, is the tidal wave coming to Europe for all populist right leading parties?
We've discussed. We've done a video about this. It's difficult to see how the present system can sustain itself, and the terrible thing is, it's difficult to see any political challenge to the present system. So we're going to have a major economic crisis in Europe, which is going to affect the southern European states very, very badly. But even with that kind of crisis, the political class, the European political class, will do everything it can to block out forces like Vox, the Brothers, all of those things. So we're going to have what we call in Greek stasis, paralysis in effect.
All right. Do you think Ursula von der Leyen and Michelle will ever admit they were wrong in supporting Ukraine after they found out about the NAZIs?
No, of course they're not going to.
No.
They're not going to.
They're going to get promoted up.
Absolutely. I mean, as I said, I fully expect to see one of them chairman of the European Central Bank before very long.
That's
And
not
that's
a joke.
not a joke.
They're going to get promoted up.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Promoted up to what? Given the state of the EU, what it's going to be after autumn, I don't know, but they'll be promoted up on top of the rubble that they've left behind them. Vitamin T says, what are your thoughts on what the borders will be of Ukraine after Russia wraps up their special operation?
Alex did a good point about this a few days ago, and I endorse it. You'll get all of the territory west of the Dnieper will be within these new republics. The Russians will push all the way up to Odessa, taking control of the Black Sea coast. There will be a rump Ukraine state left in and around Kiev in the central regions. And who knows, there might be a breakaway Ukraine in the west.
Yeah. And because I just don't think they have any need for Kiev and everything on the west. I just don't see the real purpose of trying to control that area.
No, agreed. I would add something else, but I agree with that. By the way, I should say that, Alex did a really good program covering Lavrov's interview with India today. If you actually parse it very carefully, if you look very carefully at what he was saying, it seemed to me that he he was essentially confirming that the Russians in Kherson and Zaporozhye and these places are there to stay. You have to really look behind his words, but it was clear that this is now the agenda in Moscow today.
I I also want to say a couple of things real quick,
Mm,
anecdotal.
yeah,
Alexander's. I've been talking to a couple of Russians here in Cyprus, and if people don't know, there is quite a large Russian
yeah,
community here in Cyprus. And almost all of them, when I ask them the question about what they think is going to be, this final map, which everyone talks about, what will be the
yeah,
end of the special military operation, I think all of them said they really don't care about the west of Ukraine.
yeah.
Like, going in there, all of them said the same
Mm,
thing. Let Europe have it. Let
yeah,
Poland have it. That was pretty much their response.
absolutely. That's
But when it
exactly.
came to
I think
Odessa and everything there, it was okay. That's yeah,
that has enormous emotional
yeah,
traction. I completely agree with that, and I think you're absolutely right. I think that, and I think that's where this is going. Mhm.
yeah. Sir Johnny says, can you comment on the significance of the recent Sarmat ICBM missile test by the Russians?
We did a program about this briefly. It is a demonstration of power. It's one of the most it's the most powerful ICBM ever deployed and the most advanced. It can reach the United States by circumventing the globe around the South Pole, which goes behind all the US defense systems. But it's also undoubtedly a warning. I mean, if you think this test was just today, made because that's part of the test program. It was a warning to the West that all this talk about nuclear weapons, which the West Russians have said, all this talk about Russia using nuclear weapons in Ukraine, is Western mirror imaging. It's a warning to the Western powers. If you're thinking anything about nuclear weapons, don't even think about it because we have these enormous resources and we can reach you anywhere.
James Edwards, thank you for that super chat. Robbie, thank you for that super sticker. Bakuna Matata says, do you think NATO will focus on regime change in Latin America and Africa in the coming years? Which countries do you think should be concerned?
They're going to go, they're going to do all of these things. My own personal view is that ultimately the major battlegrounds are going to be Africa and the Middle East. Always have been, always will be. That's where they're going to focus. African states look always more vulnerable than Middle Eastern ones.
Yeah. Econ Black says, could we please get Dr. Jordan Peterson on? Some, however,
Mm.
Voltaire isn't quite explaining things for me. Those who would make you believe in absurdities can make you commit atrocities.
That's so true. And Voltaire was supposed to be, was once the high priest of liberalism. He said those things. He also, said, I may not agree with you, or he's attributed to. He didn't actually say it, but I may not agree with you, but I would die, fight to the death for your right to say it, to say what
Hmm.
you believe. Well, that's the opposite of liberalism today.
AT, thank you for that super sticker. Fadista says, will there be an EU conversion to central bank digital currency soon?
Oh yeah, I mean the ECB is very keen on that sort of thing, but their monetary policy is a lunacy. I mean they're still got negative interest rates. This is European Union is descending into well, not a hyper, but a massive inflation crisis, and they're still engaging in QE. They're still, in
Hmm.
other words, bailing out France, Italy, Spain to keep their friends in power there.
All right. Hussein says, will this affect new democracies like Tunisia?
Yeah, must do. I'm sure it will because if we're going to see food price spikes on the kind of scale that we are seeing, that's going to drive a lot of people into hunger, and that's going to lead to protests. I think that's inevitable.
Hmm. Ryan says, happy holidays, guys. We need more people like Gonzalo now. Thoughts are with his family and friends. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Agree with you there. John, thank you for that super chat, which says consistently wonderful work. Thank you both. Thank you very much, John, for that generous super chat. Um, where are we here? Ninoslav says, much support from Serbia. Do you, either of you gents, know anything about MINT, MINT, Mexico, Indonesia, Nigeria, Turkey, created,
Mm.
supported by Russia, BRICS?
Didn't know that anything about it, but that's, I mean, we're going to see a lot of that. You see, this is what the Russians and the Chinese do. Where the West tries to spin together alliances, the Russians and the Chinese are much more subtle. They create groupings of friendly states. They're not exactly allies, because sometimes they will have internal tensions with each other, but ultimately they will gradually align and coalesce with each other. And I think that we're going to see a lot more of that over the next 10, 20 years.
Lena, thank you for that super sticker. And JZH4 Freedom says, I'm so sick of the current political environment in the whole world, but I know where I can find hope and comfort in the program like this. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for that super chat. And Asmi06 says, enjoy your time off for Pascha and try to have some rest. You look tired, so you need to recharge to continue providing quality content.
We will do all of those things. Thank
you for that. Yes. Carlos says, thank you for the amazing analysis, guys. Is the EU leadership really this incompetent, or is it doing exactly what the USA expects of it at the cost of its own citizens? Remember, freedom, gas, it's coming.
They're both incompetent and ideologically obsessed. And I think I have to say this, it's clear to me that there is a sort of visceral hatred and anger of the Russians, which is also affecting their own their emotions. It's distorting their judgments.
Where are we here? Amrit says the Greek government at least should have thanked the Russian army for saving Greek Ukrainians and sending them safety to Greece. Common Greek people have great affection for Russia, and it would have been popular.
I agree. Well, but our government isn't like that. By the way, I don't know whether you can confirm this, Alex, but I've heard that this horrible looking Azov man who was from Mariupol, who attended the parliament with was there, with Zelensky, that he's actually been killed.
Yeah, that's what they say. I mean, yeah, that's what they say.
Yeah.
Batman says, "Are you a coffee or tea person?"
Oh, I'm a coffee person, but I do drink heaps of tea. I start my morning coffee. My coffee is what I start the day with, but then I have, huge collection of tea. But coffee, I can't. I have to have too.
Yeah, Bro Eswar, thank you for that super chat. Dan Noya says Germany is starting to drill in the Wadden Sea, a protected area. Is the green BS finally over? You kids are great.
Oh,
God bless Gonzalo Lira.
One would love to think so. Can I just say something? The fact that Germany's been importing all this gas and oil from Russia makes complete economic sense. But if Germany became as dependent as it did on Russia, that's not Russia's fault. That's the fault of bad decisions made in Germany. I mean, they compromised their energy security because they've been pursuing this green will-o'-the-wisp for all these decades now.
Yeah, it's an UNESCO site as well. But Putin killed the coup, and he killed the Green New Deal as well, and he killed globalism.
Absolutely. What is amazing?
three things that he took out. Yeah,
I know. The amazing thing about this is, of course, the Greens are the most enthusiastic supporters of this war and of the sanctions program, even as it's destroying their own program.
Exactly. Yeah. Sparky says Eisenhower, a Republican, called himself a liberal.
Yeah. Well, yes, but that's, another age.
Yeah. Too Small says Ukraine will be landlocked country. Let's be honest. Who will lead the EU, Germany or France?
Will there be an EU?
Yeah.
Will it matter? Will it matter if there is?
It may exist, but will it matter? Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Svinstead says, Gonzalo, Easter weather has been amazing. Pray for Gonzalo. Easter weather has been amazing. Thank you very much.
Yes, it certainly has been in Britain. Yes. Yeah.
AT, thank you for that super sticker. Where are we here? Tristan says, where there are gyros, there is hope.
Yeah.
There's a little gyro emoji there. Thank you, Tristan, for that. Okay. I'll agree with that.
I'd agree with
that. Martin says, if Biden leaves office, do things get better?
No. I mean, they may do, but it depends who takes over. If it's the great lawyer and vice president, then, of course, they could even get worse. Don't assume that they can't get worse.
Yeah. Sparky says, F F up, move up. Thank you, Sparky, for that. Bro Eswar, thank you for that super chat. Zionic, thank you for the super sticker. Jane, thank you for that super sticker. My username says Easter greetings to you both. Thanks for your great content and this community you've built. Thank you, my username, for that. Barry C. Lowe says, what do you think about China proposing a global security initiative? And what would you think would be the response from countries globally?
I think some countries will be attracted to it, but the Western powers will not. And that immediately means it won't be a global one. This is China making, big noises as it maneuvers to establish itself as the next global power. And that's what it's doing. This is PR. It's not for real.
Yeah. Let's see. Michael says the gas reserves in Wadden Sea ain't that much. True.
Yeah. So why? I know. Well, that was absolutely true.
Yeah. History Last says, new subscriber. Thank you both thank you so much for all your work. This is one of my daily go-to sites. Love the information analysis. Do stay safe. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Share55 says, we need to do an event somewhere with you guys, Viva and Barnes. Yeah, that would be cool to have everyone get together.
Yeah.
Michael Bass says, Putin is the new leader of the free world. Save the Jaguar says, what's below the Azov plant? Will we see in 3 days or 5 days? That's $1 million question.
It is, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. Jamalon 56 says, in my opinion, green bareback is an intelligent asset.
A lot of people have said this. I don't know. I mean, to me, frankly, she doesn't look very bright. If this is the best they can do, then the intelligence services aren't that intelligent. That's all I can say.
Diamond Precept says, what's going on with Nord Stream 2? Nothing.
It's dead. It's nothing. It's dead. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it will ever be revived. I don't. Even if the Germans come pleading to the Russians to reopen it, I think the Russians will say no.
No, and that's that. Yeah, that will never happen, I don't think.
Yeah.
Vexilo says, petition to get Alex a haircut. Alexander or me? Alex.
Yeah.
Or both. Both of us need a haircut, Alexander.
We probably do. Yeah.
Maybe. Okay, let's wrap it up. Let me just go through these last questions, everybody, and we'll wrap it up.
Yeah.
And we'll start our weekend, our 3-day weekend. But we're going to have a lot of content coming your way. A lot of content still. Let me see here. Zishan says, keep up the great work. You all are amazing. Prayers for Gonzalo. Thank you very much for that. Eremias, welcome to the Duran community. Divine Insurgent says, I spoke to Coach Red Pill, aka GL, during one of his last live streams. This is so eerie. So many journalists are at this point as scummy as bankers.
Yeah.
No journalists are speaking out. Mainstream media journalists.
No.
None of them.
No.
Chuha says, Western media stays silent about Gonzalo Lira. What a disgusting attitude. Chuha, you read my mind. Moondragon says, ever since you founded Duran, would you ever predict that we would end up here in 2022?
Yes, I think we did. Well, back in 2016.
Did we?
We could already, maybe not in 2016. No, actually, that's the point. I mean, we didn't, no, not in 2016. But after Russiagate started and grew, we did say that this is a very, very sinister thing that was happening and that it was, existential. And, we could see that the things were going in a very bad way. And we also said that, if Biden wins the presidency, it's going to get far worse.
Yeah, we've been covering Ukraine for a long, long time. Yeah. Novus says, I often go to Wadensee. Only parts are protected. As far as I know, the gas project would cut only a kilometer or so off the area, and it's only sea. The Dutch are very good in these things, but I still think it's stupid as Groningen has a massive gas field. It's also not much gas.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I mean, I'm sure that's all right.
Yeah. Do you think that Russia and China will keep their agreements with each other, even when their interests begin to diverge?
Well, that is for the future to say. At the moment, their interests converge, so they will keep their agreements with each other. If the world changes, and then they may discover that they have differences, and then those differences may become important. But that's impossible to know for the present time. What I'm going to say, and I really am going to say this. I mean, I haven't been to Russia for several years now. Last time I was there was in early 2018, and I was very, very surprised, impressed, concerned, if you like, all those things about the extent of Chinese influence. And that's growing all the time. I'm sure it's grown a lot more, and it's going to grow still more after all of this. So it may be very, very difficult in the future if anybody wants to prize them apart, whatever happens.
Melkon Borgier says Russia is reporting special forces have captured Sergei Velichko and Konstantin Nemichev, leaders in the Azov. Posted photos.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, that's
That
a
would be
big
huge.
news. That would be huge.
The Russian military came out with a statement, and they said that they are actively now on the lookout, on the hunt to find all of the missing. They said Russian journalists, but I am 100% positive that they've got Gonzalo on that list as well to look for him. That's
I'm
why I
sure that
said I'm sure Chile contacted the Russian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and
Yes.
Russia's going to be like, yeah, we're gonna look for him as well.
Yeah.
There's no doubt
Well,
about it.
Yes, yes. I mean, I haven't seen this report, but if it's out, then I mean, from the Russians, that
It was
should be
from the
taken.
generals. No, it was from I forgot the general's name. He came out with a statement. It was all over Russian media. Minitsiev, I believe is his name.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, that's the Ministry of Defense, Mizintsev, or whatever his name is. I mean, he's one of the major spokesmen at the Defense Ministry. Wow.
Yeah, he pretty much said they're going to find all the He said Russian journalists, but like I said, I think
No, I'm sure
the Russians are going to put all the
pull up. Yeah, absolutely. Wow.
Yeah. Amrit says Nikolaev, Odessa, Dnipropetrovsk, Zaporozhye are Russian cities in Ukraine are going to be liberated. Ukraine industries mainly in the east and south, Russian ones.
Kharkov as well. Don't forget Kharkov, Chernigov too. All of these places, and also that's where the richest black earth is too.
Yeah. Bauke says Eisenhower, press Ike, IKE, capital.
No.
Thank you, Bauke, for that. Rocky Lux says, are the diagrams of the tunnels under Azovstal credible? If so, were they developed as part of the Soviet, and therefore there would be similar tunnels under Transnistria?
Yes, I'm sure I'm sure that they were developed under the Soviets, and I'm sure the Russians have all the plans, by the way, but they would have been kept in Moscow, and they were created, to prepare for nuclear war. But can I also say that none of these drawings that we've seen are, for me, in the slightest bit credible? As I said before, I mean, they look like, I don't know if anybody has seen the films or the a video game, Resident Evil and Raccoon City and what's supposed to be below. I mean, it seemed to me more like that, frankly, some of these pictures, than what I suspect is the reality.
Ronald says, do you think that Russia and China will keep their agreements with each other even? Oh, no, I read that.
Yeah, we read
Sorry,
that one, yeah.
Hugo, that's the question that I want. Hugo, where are the Davos people? What are the Davos people capable of if they feel their project is falling apart?
That's a very, very good question. I mean, they basically are ideologues, and they're capable of massive financial manipulations. But what else they can do, I really don't know. I suspect many of them are very close to people in the intelligence and security services. I doubt actually that they have very many followers in any European military. But that's, I'm not going to try and speculate what they could do.
Legal Hawk says, yes, Gonzalo on the search and rescue list. The Russian special forces are awesome.
Wow. No, let's hope so.
Elena K says, there was news that Greece arrested Russian oil tankers. Can you comment on it? Yes, they did, but now they've said they've released it.
Okay, well, that didn't.
Have you heard that?
I didn't hear that, but at the last, but I mean, it does that. But that is interesting. Good. I have to say, that's what I'm good. Okay, good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Divine Insurgent said, what's the difference between gyros doner and shawarma, other than the former having pork and the latter being halal at times?
Well, I'm not sure that there is one. I have to say, when I was a child in Greece, I'd never heard of gyros. This is something that must have
Mm.
evolved and been. I'm not saying it's real, it's not real, authentically Greek, but it's probably
The
something that's
the
developed a
the
lot.
bread,
Yeah,
yeah, the bread is different at times,
yeah,
and
yeah.
the sauces are different at times, and what you put in them is different as well.
Yeah, absolutely,
But they're all pretty much the
absolutely.
same.
They're all pretty much.
Diego
I,
says, "Can
I,
West?" Yeah.
I've heard they came from the ports, by the way, and that they were originally sailors' food. For all I know, that's
Mm.
true. Mm.
Diego says, "Can Western weapons sent to Ukraine end up in the black market, increasing the arsenal of criminals?" Well,
The
they are.
Pentagon has already said that they're worried
They
about
are.
precisely that same
Yeah,
thing.
they
So
are.
of course they
Yeah,
can. Not only they can, they will. I mean, that's the
they
one
will.
absolute certainty in this that
That's the
we live in.
point. That's the point.
That's
Who do you think? Who do you think is making money off of this stuff, Alexander?
yeah.
The generals in
Well,
the
the
various
generals are
militaries. What I think.
militaries.
Actually, I
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
Yeah, all the military guys are making money off of
yeah.
selling them to the black
Well,
market. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, absolutely correct. That's entirely right. Yeah.
yeah. Julian Smith says, "Alex, question: What is the modern artwork usually behind you?" This is a nice one. I like this one because it has
Mm.
it's like poking fun of the corporate neoliberal world. It has like McDonald's, CNN. It has all these things on the
Mm.
clock. So it's an interesting
Mm.
piece. Maureen, thank you for that super chat. Rich says Italian heavy industry manufacturing was one of the biggest in the world, but due to Draghi, they are going to stop manufacturing.
Yeah.
Deindustrialization.
Yeah.
Sparky says during the Cold War, we American soldiers may have hated communism, but we didn't hate Russia or Russians. We wanted to set them free.
Yeah. I know. I remember that time well. Mhm.
Red Pill Scholar says, can't Europe see they're being destroyed by the US?
Many people can. The political class is blind to that. I mean, this has been a spring of madness. Can I just say that? And we're going to be paying the price for it for decades into the future.
Novus Black said RT had a segment on Gonzalo. Yes, I saw that segment.
Oh, really?
It's
Oh, really?
excellent. Where you can get RT on Odyssey. You can get it on Odyssey
Well, indeed.
and Rumble as well. And BitChute, I also believe you can get RT. Meganizia Shan says, best greetings. Alexanders, would you say that the ancient thinkers of the Magna Graecia prioritized a good Rus?
A good Rus.
Good Russe. R-U-S-E.
No, I'm not sure. R-U-S-E. I'm not quite sure. Good ruse. A good
Ruse.
ruse, a trick. I would have thought not, actually, if you're talking about deception. I mean, the Pythagoreans, who were the dominant philosophical school in Magna Graecia, which, for those who don't know, is southern Italy. I think they were perhaps not opposed to that kind of deception. At least that's what I know about them.
All right. Mandate Magic says, God bless everyone here. Thank you for that Mandate Magnet. Bro Eswar says, Putin is popular in Haiti. Thank you for that, Bro Eswar. Steve says, I have a long question that is more than 200 letters. Can't fit it in here now, so I will try to figure out how to shorten it for next time. Here's a small abbreviation, apportation for your great work. Thank you very much for that, Steve. AZ Mayer says, do you think if NATO thought it can win in Ukraine, it would have had boots on the ground already? Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Mandate Magic says,
don't underestimate what desperation can make people do, though. So they may know that they would lose, but they might still do it.
Yeah. Steve Foster says, great job, lads. Australia goes to the polls on May 21st. Any thoughts?
I've heard that there's a real chance Morrison will lose. But I've also heard that it won't make a huge amount of difference. It might help Julian Assange. That's one thing an Australian lawyer did tell me, that the new Labour government, if there's a Labour government, might be more sympathetic to Assange than Morrison's government has been.
Tech Epiphany says, spam every Ukraine-related YouTube video by Fox, MSNBC, CNN, France 24, etc. with Gonzalo's name.
Yeah.
It's a good tactic.
It's a good, interesting idea. Good, yes.
Navit says, I hope Gonzalo is safe. Thank you very much, Navit, for that. So do we. Ruth says, the article on Pravda RU is titled, Russia Special Forces Capture Ukraine's Torturers, but it's from March. So something doesn't add up.
No,
Hmm.
that was an earlier claim. Well, we'll see what it was. I mean,
Yeah. Dhruva 3 says, Gents, does the generic IQ of a nation have impact on the destiny of said nation, or the ruling elite decide the course? Comment on generic IQ of EU, US, Russia. Has the US checkmated both the EU and Russia?
no, I don't think so. I think that it is elites, and it's elites who make decisions, unfortunately, in the oligarchical systems that we have today. That's very much my own personal view.
Akali, thank you for that amazing super chat. Thank you very much. C Meme, thank you for that super chat. F Mac, thank you for that super chat. And Sparky says, I think Yido's date from around the 1970s.
Okay. Well, that would possibly explain why I wasn't familiar with them as a child, but who knows?
And Yuro Gabor says, Orban met the Pope today. Vatican does not like the hardline Polish stance on Russia. Why does a woke Catholic pontiff want the Calvinist to deal with the Orthodox? That's an interesting question. I didn't know he was meeting with the Pope.
No, I didn't know that.
That's everything. Those are the
That's
questions,
everything.
Alexander. Well, we have one more. Ackley says U.S. senators proposed curb the SIPS Act of 2022, stop China conducting financial transactions with Russia. Chinese banks using KIPS for cross-border payments with Russia will be removed from the SWIFT network. Let them remove it.
Remove it, yeah.
That's what
We'll
I
let
say.
them remove it. I mean, agreed. I mean, the stupidity of all of this is to think that countries like China and Russia aren't technologically adept enough to set up messaging systems. I mean, it's just, I mean, one does wonder what planet these people are on. I mean, the ignorance, the lack of knowledge of the world today is amazing to me.
Yeah, they're like little children.
Yeah.
And Nitswitch says the West underestimated Russian military capabilities, but by how far? Will they still do after the launch of Sarmat 2 after Ukraine?
I don't know. I think that there are people in the Pentagon who are very alive to the reality of Russian military capabilities. And that's the only thing that's left. They're the
That's the
only
difference.
sane people you will find. I mean, they're the
Yeah,
only sane
exactly.
people who are left now.
Yeah, the Pentagon understands it's the Department of State is completely in La La Land.
Absolutely.
Ruth says, is Russia fighting the deep state or ushering in the NWO with all these predicted food shortages?
Well, conceivably both. Why does the one exclude the other?
Beer and Flies, thank you for that awesome super sticker. Thank you very much for that. And Tristan, this is the final question that will run here, or the final one or two questions. One sec, Alexander. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. Where am I here? Tristan. Yeah, that's where I am. Tristan. Tristan says, affectionate way of saying Australia is close with Greece. Aussie humor. Big Greece contingency in Australia. Yidos was mentioned by Aristotle. Thank you, Tristan.
Oh, right. Okay. Wow. Okay.
There is a big Greek community in Australia, especially in Melbourne.
This huge one.
Huge
one.
Ramon says, good morning, gents. Have you seen the reports on the U.S. border? The U.S. is letting 1,000 Ukrainian migrants in a day. Meanwhile, asylum seekers from Africa and South America are not being let into the border and being pushed away. I did not see that.
I didn't see that, no.
I had no idea about that. Eric Pug says, hoping Gonzalo returns safe, writes a book, a movie deal, as long as it's not produced by Netflix, of course.
Yeah. Netflix is a big story we might want to look at one day.
Yeah, that's a big story, yeah. Nitswitch says La La Land with an emoji. Pajamo says, what are your thoughts on NATO countries making revolutionary trade deals recently? I feel suspicious, particularly the timing of it all.
Yeah. Revolutionary trade deals. NATO countries.
NATO countries making revolutionary trade deals.
Not quite sure what you're referring to, but whatever it is, it doesn't sound very encouraging. But I'm not quite sure what you mean by this.
Yeah. Steve says you are not letting more super chats Coffee will be later. You're not leaving. Where yes. No, coffee. I want to get up more content today too. Yeah. Big
Yeah.
Fan says if you want Colonel McGregor, Max Blumenthal, and Aaron Matthew at the Gray Zone have had him on their channel.
I
Maybe
know.
DM or
We
reach
know
out.
him.
God bless. Yes,
We
will
might
definitely.
do. We
We
might
want to
even
get
do
them on as well. Yeah.
as well. Indeed.
Zavren says, I thank you both for your reports. Please continue because you are a vital service to us all. Thank you for that. Renemo, thank you for that super sticker. And Celeste says, who? USA big guy are really under the bunker of Mariupol. Your thoughts that Ukraine is even asking for a peace talk now. Who is
Yeah, I've
in
heard that.
Mariupol?
We'll see. No doubt we will eventually find out. We will eventually find out. Interesting, the Russians aren't storming it. So who knows? Maybe they know there's somebody important there,
There's
and they don't want
something
that
important
person.
there.
And they don't want they don't want that person hurt or killed or whatever it is.
Yeah, Herding Cat says, evil clown world is driving the bus. No rest for the wicked. Even the Pope is woke.
True enough.
Thank you for that. Okay. All right, everybody. Any final thoughts, Alexander?
I think I've already given mine. I mean, this is a dark time, but we mustn't, give up hope. And of course, Easter does always, to those who believe, give hope. And that's what I would say at the end of it.
Alexander, they live in a bubble. Personally, I wish they'd move to another planet. Real lot no sense says, Happy Easter. JHW says, Netflix and Disney are both in the same boat. Yeah. And is Hunter Biden in Azovstal? One would think.
We'd like to believe, in some ways, yes. I mean, he's probably in charge of everything. He probably runs it all. I mean, he's the great mastermind behind it all.
Yeah. Pajama says, sorry, I meant to say trade deals with India. Okay. USA bring Australia and Japan within the last few days. Okay. Yes.
Oh, of course, they wanted to trade deals with India. I mean, you're right to be suspicious, but I don't think it's going to change Indian policy.
Well, Boris has a meeting with Modi on Friday, doesn't he?
He does. It doesn't look very good at the moment. And Boris has made a big play of trying to have good relations with India, partly because the Conservative Party has made a big play of trying to win over the Indian electorate in Britain.
Hunter Biden is a mastermind.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And Frederick says, hi from Sweden. Thanks both of you, Alexis, for tremendous reporting. Thank you, Frederick. And Klaus says, check out Michael Tracy. He has much insight and behind the scenes of the U.S. and was recently in Poland. He's especially onto the neocons. Michael Tracy is amazing. I agree with you.
Absolutely. I agree with that too.
He's a great reporter. All right. We will leave it there. Thank you, everybody, for tuning into this live stream. Thank you, Carol, for that super sticker. And thank you to our moderators as well for helping us out. Valley S, Alan Watson, and let me just scroll through here and see. Reckless Abandon was with us as well. And I think those were the moderators that were helping out this chat today. Yeah. Thank you to everyone who joined us on Odyssey. Thank you to everyone who joined us on Rumble and on YouTube and our great locals community, the duran.locals.com. You guys come to Houston. It's like India, warm. Bring Barnes, great conference. That would be cool. That would be very cool. I've been to Houston. Yeah. It's a great city. Little Panda Cub says, where is Lira?
Well,
let's hope for the
best.
He's safe. I still have hope. I have a lot of hope.
Yes.
So, all right, Alexander,